Hello all you wonderful and amazing people. How you doing today? Well, you can't hear me, so I'm going to assume that you're good, and if not, then I'm sorry, and I hope you feel better. Anyways, today we're going to be talking about Zelda, and not just any Zelda. We're going to be talking about The Legend of Zelda Phantom Hourglass. As you can tell by the 40 or so second intro that I've decided to plaster into the front of this video. But Phantom Hourglass? You mean that little game that most people don't really talk about much on the DS? Yep, that game. And guess what? That was my first Zelda. Yeah, I admit it. Phantom Hourglass was my very first Zelda game. And you know what? I don't care what you say. I loved it. Now, don't get me wrong. I know it's not perfect, and I'm not going to defend it like it's the most perfect game ever. It's not the best Zelda by any means, but it's got its own sort of like cute and good charm to it. And I just want more people to give it a chance. So I want to discuss a remake and why I think it'll happen. Think back to February. We had gotten some patents for the Phantom Hourglass patents. Yeah, we got Phantom Hourglass patents. And you know, you may be asking, Monado, game companies do repatents all the time for their games. This shouldn't be any different, right? Well, I just want to throw this out there. It's probably the timing of it, to be honest with you. Okay, hear me out. Last May, it was also discovered that other games within the Zelda franchise also had patent renewals. And you want to know one of them? Skyward Sword. And which game was shown off to be getting an HD remaster on the Switch? Skyward freaking Sword. It's Zelda's 35th anniversary, and they always go out with Zelda. The Zelda series is their bread and butter. It's always had success. Just like the Link's Awakening remake. That game had sold a couple million, probably outclassing their expectations. And now I really want to believe that this is Phantom Hourglass's time to shine. Maybe I'm just getting my hopes up, but you know what? I don't really care. Just let me get my hopes up. Let me get disappointed. And if I do get disappointed, well, then that sucks. And it sucks to suck. But dang nabbit, if I don't get these thoughts out of my head and put into a video, I am gonna just go stir crazy. That's it. I'm just gonna go crazy because I love this game and I don't care what anybody says, damn it. Now, if you aren't too familiar with Phantom Hourglass, then well, to put it lightly, it has the early DS testing syndrome, if you know what that means. If not, it basically just uses the touchscreen for pretty much everything, from moving, to using your items, to puzzle solving, advancing text, anything you can imagine, it uses the touchscreen for. Now, you can use like little shortcuts and stuff to open up your menu from like the buttons, like the face buttons and the D-pad, but you can pretty much play the entire game without touching those, so I don't really count that. Granted, it's nice little shortcuts, but you can't really play the game just from little menu shortcuts. Now, let's say it would be a full-scale remake, and they could fine-tune a lot of the puzzles to fit with traditional controls. You know, it'd be far from impossible for them to adapt this sort of gameplay style to normal control scheme. I mean, even if they wanted to keep something similar to the original image of the game, they could always just adapt a lot of the touch and draw segments to either gyro or the use of a second analog stick. You know, though, if they do remake this game, I genuinely really will miss how they did the boomerang in that game. Like, being able to just draw your path that the boomerang goes, that was flawless. That was always really good. Now, I've always seen people ramble on before, oh, but if they do remake it, they could just use the Wind Waker engine. And genuinely, I don't really think that they could. They're either going to develop a brand new engine for it like they did for the Link's Awakening remake, or the more likely thing they're going to do is just heavily modify that existing engine that they used for Link's Awakening to fit the needs of Phantom Hourglass, because honestly, as it stands right now, I don't really think it'd be a great idea for them to use it as is. It'd be kind of clunky, and take a lot of the free flow movement that Link has out of it. Also, I'm not really an expert, so maybe that's not how game engines work. I don't know. All I do know is that if they made Phantom Hourglass in that one-to-one style of the Link's Awakening remake, it wouldn't really work, just for a couple of reasons. But I already stated those. So, anyways, moving on. So, I've talked a ton about Phantom Hourglass, and now I know I'm already going to have a lot of people clamoring me about it. But what about Spirit Tracks? Well, as of right now, we don't have any news about a patent reveal for Spirit Tracks, but at the same time, I don't really know if all patents are supposed to be public information. Maybe somebody could correct me on that in the comments. So it could potentially be up in the air. Now, this may seem a little bit shoehorned in here, and it honestly kind of is. I just kind of threw this into my script a little bit late because I didn't really know where else to put it. But Nintendo hasn't even really forgotten or abandoned these games in any capacity. We just got re-releases of them on the Wii U eShop back in like 2015, 2016, and I know that isn't really saying too much, but we also did get a costume of Lineback in Triforce Heroes. Lineback, you know, our favorite boatman from Phantom Hourglass. Along with Toon Zelda taking over the Phantom and Hyrule Warriors, and a lot of Link's arsenal also being taken straight from those games, such as like the Phantom Sword and the Locomo Sword. If you don't know what that one is, that's the sword that Angine gives you towards the end of the game that has like all that sacred energy just piled all into it. I know, spoiler alert, I'm sorry. Sandrod, a couple of others that I can't really find information on, but I believe that there's more in the game. But like I said, Nintendo honestly has not really abandoned the existence of these games. They kind of just stuck them to the side. They come up every once in a while, like I said, with those costumes and those character reveals in Hyrule Warriors. But also, I know that Hyrule Warriors and Triforce Heroes were made in-house by Nintendo, but you know, Nintendo had to approve the idea of this stuff being in the game. So they were fine with it. You know? And honestly, if this does come to be true, I genuinely think that they should do like a package deal for both Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks. I feel as though a lot more people would be interested in it that way, instead of them selling them off individually, since they're rather on the shorter side anyway. I don't even believe that this would detract from Skyward Sword sales either, if they're even worried about that to begin with. Because, you know, think, Link's Awakening is a remake of a Game Boy game that's sitting on the same console as Breath of the Wild, and they're both $60, still selling millions. They're two very different types of Zeldas for two different types of people. Granted, I like both of them, but not everybody does. Not everybody likes Breath of the Wild. Not everybody likes Link's Awakening. I know a ton of people who hate Breath of the Wild, but still like the old 3D Zelda format, and also love 2D games, but Breath of the Wild isn't their thing. While Link's Awakening may not be somebody else's thing, but they love Breath of the Wild, you know. But, you know, that's really got me thinking. A package deal of Phantom Hourglass and Spirit Tracks, both remade in HD on the Switch. If that was to happen, I'd go crazy. I love both these games to death, and I'm gonna die on that hill. Also, myself as a speedrunner, I already know that if this had happened, or if it does happen, I would speedrun the living crap out of those damn games. Mark my words, if Phantom Hourglass and/or Spirit Tracks get remade on the Switch, I am going to speedrun both of them. Maybe one, I don't know, depends. Anyways, I think that's pretty much all I have to go for this. I don't really have any more that I wanted to add or anything, so I think I'm just gonna stop talking. Have a good rest of your day. Thank you for watching. Oh, I also forgot to mention, at 1,000 subscribers on my YouTube channel, I'm gonna be giving away a copy of any game of your choosing, as long as you're the winner. Any Switch game, any 3DS game, any Xbox game, just as long as it doesn't go over $60, and you win, you can pick that game.